So just to introduce myself, I'm Steve Sargent. I'm the Chief Product Officer for Triumph Motorcycles, and I've been working on the Moto2 project with Dorna. We've been working on this project with Dorna now for over 12 months, and we've been working with them on the specification of the engine for Moto2. So there are a number of changes that we are making to the engine compared to the standard street 77765cc engine. Those changes are to help to increase the power and to give the bike a little bit more torque. So fundamentally the changes are around helping the engine to breathe more easily and to give higher revs, and also to reduce the inertia to help the engine to spin up faster. So the changes we made around the cylinder head are in the inlet and the exhaust port to improve the breathing. We've also changed to titanium valves and stiffer valve springs to help the engine to rev. At the bottom end of the engine, we've reduced the inertia by putting a race kit alternator on the bike. We've put a FCC Moto2 slipper clutch, which has been developed specifically for this engine and is something that is tunable by the teams. We've also changed the first gear ratio because obviously in racing conditions you don't need such a short first gear. So there's quite a number of changes compared to the standard engine to make this bike suitable specifically for Moto2. We've had an engine on the rig now for over 8 months, and we've been testing it for power and also for durability. So we're in a situation now where we're confident with the base specification of the engine. The next steps now are to start to develop the race ECU. So this is something that we're going to be doing with Magneti Marelli. Magneti Marelli have also developed the race ECUs for MotoGP, so they have a lot of experience of doing this work. And the race ECU will give the teams some options and some parameters that they can play with to tune the bike specifically for each track that they work on. We have a titanium set of race headers on the engine. We have machined intakes. We have some machine blanking plates where the secondary air is normally situated, but a lot of the changes are internal to the engine. So the changes we've made to the cylinder head, and the changes we've made to the race alternator obviously are all internal to the engine, so it's very difficult to see that. On the bike over here, you can see we have some machined from solid engine covers because the race clutch allows us to reduce the width of the engine, so we have some specific engine covers that have been developed for the bike just to reduce that width. Okay, so I have some questions that have been submitted by the community, so let's go through those and see if we can give you the answers that you need. So the first question is it really a 765 and a 675 frame? So I think this is referring to the bike that we've been testing with in Aragon with Julian Simon. So we've developed this bike specifically to test the Moto2 engine. It is based on a 675cc frame, but it has more adjustability than a 675cc frame. So we have an adjustable headstock on the bike, and we also have some adjustment in the swing arm pivot. But the main purpose of developing this bike wasn't to try to develop the chassis, it was more to test the engine. Okay. So that's that one. Next question. Will you develop a dedicated Moto2 frame? We have no plans to do that because the whole purpose of the Moto2 Championship is to give an engine to all of the teams and allow all of the individual teams to develop their own frames. So I don't think it's in the spirit of the championship for Triumph to develop their own frame for this championship, but we're more than happy to support with an engine and allow the teams to develop their own chassis. Okay. So what power should we expect out of a Triumph Moto2 engine? So The engine that we've had on our test rig so far is producing more than 131 PS. I'm not going to give you the exact number, but I'll tell you that it's more than 131. Okay. What is the max RPM you're trying to achieve? So the changes that we've made allow the engine to rev harder than the standard bike. Again, we are still working with some of the work we're doing on the test rig to finalise the ultimate maximum RPM, but it will be at least 1,000 RPM more than the road bike. Okay. Again, I'm not going to give you the exact figure, but I'll tell you it's at least more than 1,000 RPM higher. Okay. Did you encounter any difficulty in developing this prototype? Actually, you know, it wasn't that difficult. The standard Street Triple and Daytona frames are very good chassis anyway. The main thing we did was just to give it more adjustability so that when Julian Simon was riding the bike, he could set the bike up to how he wanted the bike to perform. So overall, it didn't take a long time to do that. Okay. Will we see this prototype with lights and indicators? So I think this is a slightly cheeky question, asking whether we're going to do a new Daytona. So obviously this is a question that we've been asked a lot over the last few months, and it's been really interesting for Triumph to see the reaction from the public and the demand from the public for a new Daytona. The difficulty is this is a segment of the market that is now actually quite small. So it's quite difficult to justify investing in a new super sport bike when the size of the market has become quite small. But what I would say is we're listening quite hard to what the customers are asking, and you know, we wouldn't say never.